Everybody, long time no see. Now the question at hand is, can you climb Mount Fuji in 2024? The answer is yes, you can, but there are a number of restrictions which are being considered by various prefectures that host, well, the various trails that lead up to the top of the mountain or the volcano, however you want to classify it. Now, the prefecture with the best plan in place, or the most concrete, is Yamanashi Prefecture. And the reason this is important is because this is where the Yoshida Trail happens to start. And this is by far the most popular trail for attempting the ascent. And as a result, if you're planning on scaling the mountain this summer, this is something you should know about. So wintertime is finally winding down, and I really don't like winter. I hate the cold. I know. It is what it is, even though I live in Canada. But it's about time we jump out of hibernation here and start planning some of the trips for 2024. Mount Fuji has always been a bucket list hike for me personally, especially because I've been to Japan as many times as I have. And the only reason I haven't attempted it so far is because of the number one consideration you should be aware of if you want to hike this mountain. The hiking season for Mount Fuji is July to early September, which means you are kind of locked into that summer season. You're going to be dealing with high temperatures and high humidity, and that's generally something I also like to avoid. I like to go in the spring and or the fall. Now, the second consideration is why we are making this video, and that is with regards to some of the restrictions that are being considered by the various prefectures. Again, the Yamanashi Prefecture being the one kind of leading the pack on this one. And they have good reason to do so. So the reason they're putting all of these restrictions in place is because of overcrowding, and also because of another practice which basically has a lot of hikers attempting to ascend during the nighttime, so they can be at the top of the mountain for that beautiful sunrise, which is, of course, that bucket list item that everyone wants to capture for their memories. So that is definitely something to be aware of. Now, as I mentioned, the Yoshida Trail is by far the most popular one, and there's a number of reasons for this because, of course, it's super easy access from Shinjuku Station. There are a number of buses that take you directly to the Subaru 5th station where the hike begins. And in combination with the easy access, there's a lot of amenities on these trails. You have the mountain huts, and there's lots of places where you can get food, water, and snacks. I know it's kind of the luxury experience as far as hiking is concerned. So easy access. It's also nearby a few towns that you're probably familiar with. Kawaguchiko is one that I featured in my top 3 fall destinations from Tokyo video. So you can check it out. Beautiful, beautiful setting, incredible lake as well. And of course, it's all part of the experience and part of why there's so many crowds on this particular trail. Now, as you can see on screen and based on the official Mount Fuji climbing website, these restrictions revolve around a very specific number, and that is 4,000 people per day. So based on this, it looks like if there are more than 4,000 people per day on the trail, they're going to be having these gates that are in place that will basically be closed between 4 p.m. in the afternoon and 3 a.m. in the morning. So again, this is to restrict night climbing. Now, along with that, there's also going to be a 2,000 yen fee, which used to be optional. It was a donation as far as preserving the trail and everything else associated with it. But it looks like this is going to be a set fee. Not a big deal if you're traveling halfway around the world because you want to climb Mount Fuji. I seriously doubt less than $20 is going to basically be a deal breaker for you. And, you're not going to attempt Mount Fuji because of, $17 or whatever. So that's not really a big deal. Now, what is interesting is, again, with regards to that 4,000 climber limit. So if we look at that chart again, it says that if there are more than 4,000 people, that's when the restrictions are going to kick in. So does that mean that if there's less than 4,000 people on the trail per day, you are able to climb between 4 and 3 in the morning? I don't know if that is their intended translation for that text. It doesn't make much sense to me. So that's definitely something that you might want to keep your eye on if you are interested in climbing at night. That may be a mistranslation, because if you're trying to prevent people from climbing at night, it doesn't really make sense that you would set a limit on the number of people on the mountain versus just not having people climb at night in general. Because it doesn't matter if you have 4,000 people, say you have 1,000 people, but they're all beginners and they're going to get injured trying to climb at night anyway. So that's kind of my rationale for that. And it's definitely something you should probably look into a little bit more if that's part of your plan. So that's basically all I wanted to bring to your attention. Just a quick announcement. If you are going in the summertime to Japan and Mount Fuji is part of your itinerary, definitely keep a close eye on this development, because the Yamanashi prefecture isn't the only one that's considering this. Some of the other prefectures, as I mentioned, are looking to kind of mirror the same type of restrictions. So depending on where you want to start and what's part of your itinerary, you definitely want to stay informed so that you don't end up going to the trailhead and then suddenly finding out that you can't really climb that day, or whatever other restrictions are going to hamper your plans. Again, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate your viewership. Stay tuned for more. Again, we're popping out of hibernation here, so I'm looking at the content kind of flowing a little bit more frequently onto the channel. And as always, appreciate your viewership, and see you in the next one.